Alright guys, that's Kremp again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Following the big drama in the OpTic vs Los Angeles Thieves series, it seems that OpTic have indeed been blacklisted from scrims for at least one day based on the Dashy snaking drama. We saw what happened with Simp and the Cloud9 vs Ravens situation not that long ago. Simp snaking that Lambo on Hacienda. Dashy in a similar scenario on Skyline. The pros have seemingly stuck to their guns on this one. OpTic are taking it on the chin. What's Dashy's response to the situation as well? Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Is this the correct decision? That is one of the key questions right now. Before we get there, just quickly on this, here's Scump on that new off-the-grid game or whatever it is. It is just amazing to me that, like, no one is playing cards. The pros aren't even playing cards. The creators aren't playing cards. They're on, you know, some other game. Marvel Rivals was another one. The fact that Nadeshot was, instead of watching Series of the Year OpTic vs LA Thieves, and sure, I know that Nadeshot's a bit checked out of cards, and fair enough, and it's not like it was the major, but still, instead of, like, watching his own team play OpTic in what was a banger series, he was mostly playing Marvel Rivals instead, apart from at a couple of critical moments. But let's dive into this series again, because obviously it was a banger. These were the Game 5 comms when OpTic went down 5-1. I mean, at this point it looked like it was pretty much going to be over. This was obviously the start of the Game 5 when it became 4-1, and, you know, this was a 1v2 situation played pretty well by the Los Angeles Thieves. You guys probably remember this round. Huke found himself in a 1 vs 2. This was Scrap and Envoy this time rather than HyDra and Envoy, and they basically run around the map together as a duo. Huke guns the first pretty impressively, but Envoy was there perfectly for the trade. So in some ways a similar round to what happened in the eventual round 11, but instead Envoy wasn't quite in position for the trade. Well, he kind of was, but obviously we know what happens on those final couple of moments here when HyDra goes down first. Envoy isn't quite in as good a position to trade. Maybe he thinks Kenny slid away around the corner. I don't know what the other explanation is for going for the CHAL like that. Maybe just a mistake when it mattered. Whatever, we talked about it yesterday. The drama, of course, was the Game 5. OpTic won it. They secure their 10 points. They secure the potential to be the #1 seed for the major. Toronto play OpTic next weekend. Toronto are currently 6-0 in the qualifiers so far. They're on the verge of going 7-0. But to be fair to Toronto, they've looked very good. They've not played the best teams on paper. They played FaZe like day one, and of course FaZe are not the team now that they were then, we would say, and apart from that, Toronto haven't played the greatest on paper teams, to be fair. But, you know, they're playing OpTic. That's going to be a critical series. If OpTic win it, they might be #1 seed. If Toronto win it, they certainly are #1 seed. But the drama really happened the map before on the Skyline, a map, of course, that eventually they went on to win OpTic to take it to the round, to take it to the Game 5 where they eventually won. So Dashy was commenting on this, and I actually think that based on Dashy's initial reaction to the snake, I think that he knows he snaked. I think that's my takeaway. We debated this again last night on the show. I'm not going to go over this clip for another several minutes, but if you guys haven't seen it yet, this is the clip of Dashy snaking here on the Skyline. He hits the first pump you can see there. He goes prone, stands up again. Then the second one, he doesn't, you know, he does go prone, but he goes back to crouched. So there was some speculation on whether that doesn't count as a snake or not. And then he does it again. He goes, you know, obviously goes prone again, then he stands up. So obviously a matter for debate. We talked about the grey area in there yesterday. There's even a possibility that he actually did stand up on the second time. It's just the cameras are a little bit bugged here. That's a possibility as well. Look, the intention was there to do it. And this is what I think, is that after he did it, he then like hops up and goes for this CHAL. You can see at the end of the clip here, which is, you know, I think if I've snaked and I realise, like, okay, I actually just snaked the guy, not this guy, but the guy who was up top, then I'm thinking, oh, to kind of like almost apologise, I'm going to jump out and CHAL like this. Maybe it was just the correct CHAL for Dashy to make, but I don't know. That was kind of my read on it. And I don't think Dashy was particularly defending himself here either. We saw this clip yesterday. Attach was saying that Dashy had put in the group chat other clips of like somebody else snaking. So it seems like Dashy was willing to say, all right, yeah, I did snake, but make sure we apply the rules consistently because there's these other guys that have been snaking and not getting punished. So that's one part of it. I think one discussion we also had last night on the Dope Check show was around the amount of pumps that you're even allowed. Because I've thought this now for some time, and I know that lots of the players have actually come around to this idea that the whole 2 pump rule is kind of stupid. Because, look, if I'm on the other side of it, and some guy goes prone, stands up, goes prone, stands up, and kills me, as far as I'm concerned, I've been snaked right there. Whether it's 2 times or 3 times, you know, in my opinion, it's still snaking. I think the pump rule is kind of stupid. I think it should just be 1 pump, any more than that, because I get it, right? If I'm getting shot at, I go prone, I stand up again, you know, it happens. That's 1 pump, as they call it. My feeling is, any more than that is intention to use the mechanic for an advantage, and I think that 2 pumps or more should be considered. Thing is, if you do that, the pros are going to have their work cut out dealing with all the repercussions. But yeah, it was a feeling that maybe Dashy would get away with this. Dashy on the night as well was kind of recreating it and talking about it on stream and saying, yeah, from the other point of view, did look pretty dirty. We don't have Dashy's POV, we don't have the POV of the guy who was actually in a gunfight with him, but still, if Sib's situation, which was worse, I mean, there's no doubt that Sib's snake was more egregious. Sib went 3 pumps, took a break, did 4 more pumps. Like, you know, there's no doubt that it was more egregious than what Dashy did, and I think Dashy realised afterwards, yeah, probably shouldn't have done that, but still, I mean, the mentality of the pros, they need to get out of this idea of doing it, and, you know, this is Dashy kind of recreating it a little bit here on the skyline, but probably not quite to the extent that he actually did in the real game. Scump even commented on it watching the clip and thought, yeah, he hit the 3 pumps, that's probably going to be, you know, if the pros are going to enforce the GAs, they've probably got to uphold it here. So as of last night, there was some speculation on what they were going to do. JP was on stream, seemingly, and was saying that they were waiting on a decision from the GA chat as to what they were going to do. Now, the reason why this decision for the pros is either more difficult or more controversial is because they had scrims lined up. They had scrims in against Ravens and against Thieves. So every team takes like Monday off practice typically, but for today, for Tuesday, they were meant to play Ravens and Thieves. So those teams, they want to get practice against the good teams. That's the other reason why this whole snaking GA, just the GA commission in general, doesn't exist, first of all, but also isn't very good, is because when Cellium was snaking a fair bit on FaZe, there was talk about blacklisting them, but nobody wanted to blacklist FaZe because they were like the best team or very close to it. So everyone wanted the practice against that team and in many respects wanted to try and find a way to beat them. So if you're Cloud9, a team that's struggling right now, sitting 1 in 5 in the league, going to start in losers almost certainly at Madrid's Major 1, it's like, oh, Sib Snake, whatever, blacklist them, who cares, right? Same with Seattle Surge last year, when they were breaking every GA under the sun, and the pros were not probably, you know, didn't find it problematic to ban those guys for weeks or months or lose them scrims, or I think at some point, because of all the snaking things and the smokes and the GAs that Seattle was seemingly breaking last year, I think they got banned for like an entire stage of scrims. That was never really upheld, but the pros were quite willing to do it because they were like, Surge aren't even that good, who cares? Whereas OpTic are pretty damn good. They've just beaten Thieves. They might be the #1 seed going into the major. I mean, look, they're the reigning world champions with a slightly different team now with Huke instead of Pred. So teams want to scrim them. So there's that kind of inherent discussion there where pro teams are like, well, do we want to blacklist them because we're scrimming them, right? Like, if you're Ravens or Thieves and you're voting in the chat on this yesterday, and I think on this, the pros tend to want a pretty unanimous decision before they move forward with it in terms of GA punishments. Ravens and Thieves sitting there thinking, we've got scrim splits against OpTic. It's a pretty valuable scrim set for us. Do we want to follow through with it or not? So that's where things kind of, you know, came to question things, really. And JP then said, yes, if they are getting, like, blacklisted for a day, they will chalk the pro scrim maybe to an amateur scrim instead, or maybe they'll just, you know, chalk up the day and take an extra day off and, I don't know, watch some VOD or something like that. So then, as of last night, OpTic Shotzzy confirmed it, that they've been banned for 1 day of practice, according to Shotzzy. So he says, look, it's the rules the pros have come up with, can't complain. There was some debate on whether the rules were now more severe, because obviously Sib, he was banned, well, they were blacklisted for 1 day of scrims, but Ghosty was pushing initially for 1 week of scrims, but then it was only a day, but after that, there was a feeling that any further offence would be punished more significantly, but then, of course, Dashy's one wasn't as severe as Ghosty's, or as Sib's one, sorry, that Ghosty was talking about. So, it's not clear. There's no clear rules on this. The CDL's never going to be able to enforce it. The pros are going to do it themselves. So this is the outcome.
They got me snaking. It's cap, bro. It's cap. Can't tell. It wasn't on my pod, man. It was clean. There's definitely 2 pumps. The third one, it looks like, I don't know, crouching, strafing. I don't know, man. I actually genuinely don't remember my POV there. I was pretty turned that serious, so. Dami said he didn't see anything, and that's the commish. That's the commish. It was a visual glitch. That's what I'm saying, bro. What? Like, that's what happens whenever you, like, reload and shit. It, like, makes a weird animation like the other guy's pumping. It's weird. But, Tommy, I did bring up the fact that, yo, we might have to change this bitch to 1 pump, bro. I feel like the 2 pump shit just makes it, like, it's like a gray area on how, like, when you could do, like, the 3rd pump, for example. But if it's 1 pump, then it's pretty clear when who's snaking. Gosh, I don't know what they talking about. I'm clean, bro. Let's pretend like this is the scenario, alright, chat? Let's cook up. Okay, let me just pretend like it's a match. Watch. Okay. I look pretty clean. I swear that's what I did. Is that dirty? That looked kind of dirty, actually, the more I think about it. Actually, no, that's 3 pumps.
Oh shit, yeah. Apparently we don't have a screen now. I think we have a 1-day ban because of the Brandon thing, which is kind of hazy, but whatever. It is the rules, chat. Can't complain.
Yo, chat, if you murder somebody, right? Let's say if you murder somebody, right? Let's say, like, you're the shooter. You go into, like, a bank. You try to rob a bank, right? You kill, like, another gangster that wanted to rob the bank, but in that process, you killed another dude, right? You killed another innocent man. Does it really matter? Does the innocent dude's family really give a fuck that you murdered, like, him by accident? They don't really give a fuck, right? Because they're like, bro, what? He's dead. You just killed him, bro. Kill an innocent man, right? Is that the same way wrong? I
don't know what the fuck you just said.
I mean, this guy's on fucking drugs.
Like, is the intent, like, do they care about the intent? You know what I mean? Do they care that what? He didn't mean, baby, don't tweak, bro. Mom, don't tweak. He didn't even mean to kill him. It's okay. It's okay.
This guy.
So is this the correct decision or not? I think on the whole, the pros have probably done the right thing here, which is strange for me to say and admit, because usually I don't really trust the pros on GAs and stuff, but I think they've probably done the right thing, because the issue is, if you let Dashy get away with that, then it creates a problematic future, right? Like a slippery slope, you might call it, where if Dashy can do this, and even if maybe it like doesn't quite break the rules or whatever you want to say, like if this is perfectly okay, then there will be plenty of moments for the rest of the year where some player does something, it's pretty egregious, it's similar to Dashy's one, he snakes a guy for a win, and then that pro says, well, Dashy didn't get blacklisted for that, so I should be fine. It's all about the precedent, really. And if Sib's going to get, obviously, a day ban for what he did, I think Dashy getting a day ban and OpTic getting a day ban for this is probably the right punishment, because it wasn't, like, insanely bad from Dashy, like what Sib did, and obviously that was first offense, and it seemed like from then on outwards it was going to be a more severe ban. Even Ghosty said that it should be a week ban, but Sib said they eventually brought it down to a day. And Sib made it clear after this happened, literally a week ago, that let's make sure we keep the same energy all year when other things like this happen, as they will and as they have done already. So, it's not implausible that almost every weekend we've got some sort of, oh, did he snake, did he not snake? And if he did, at least if the pros agree that he did based on their interpretation of the rules that they have themselves created, then you've got to follow through with the situation, otherwise you're going to allow people to start to get away with things. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. As I say, the CDL don't care about this. It's like, what are the CDL even going to do, and what would the appropriate punishment be? Even if there was a rule in the CDL rulebook that said any more than 2 snaking pumps, I don't know how they would define that, but you know what I'm saying, any more than that is against the rules, it's a foul or something. Like, what's the punishment, right? How do the CDL enforce that? Like, are you going to give somebody a yellow card, and if they do it a couple of times, then they get banned from a match and the team has to use their substitute? That's like the only way the CDL could try and enforce these things, because the CDL can't go to the pro teams and say, all right, you're not getting practice today. It's like, who is the league to say who the teams can practice against? So they can't even do that. So the punishment the pros have come up with for this is only enforceable within themselves anyway, and they come up with the rules themselves. So, yeah, I think for now, the GA situation is holding, and whether you think this is fair or not, obviously, Dashy's punishments, for now, the pros have come up with a rule, and they are, generally speaking, enforcing the rule, and that's probably a good thing. Will it last forever is another question, because, you know, we're here in January, and we've not even got to the first major of the season yet. Is this going to last another several months? You know, I'm still not so convinced, but very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.